response to speech from the throne, and we begin with the member from Grand Prairie Smoky.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is truly an honor to rise in this legislature as a representative of Grand Prairie Smoky. The effectiveness of democracy, like ours, lies in the ability to bring representation from all areas of the province and come together. Sometimes we come together with competing voices. Yes, sometimes we come as opponents. But most importantly, Alberta representatives gather in this House as solution seekers, people coming together to find answers to the concerns that Albertans have. Again, I am honored and humbled by the opportunity to represent the constituency of Grand Prairie Smoky. Quite simply, I cannot imagine calling any other place my home. I need to thank the constituents in my riding for lending me their trust to be their voice in this assembly. An election is a one-shot deal, but continuing to earn that trust and respect of the people I represent is a job that does not end. I have to admit I'm a bit nervous about the job ahead of me because earning that trust is such an important task. I'm also a bit nervous because everything I say now is on the record. That means my wife can track all my mistakes and have written proof of everything I say. I do hope my background and roots in the area help me qualify enough to speak for the area. As a small child, I moved to Grand Prairie with my family in 1967. In 1971, my father fulfilled his dream of homesteading in the Peace Country, and we moved to a homestead in the Valley View area. At the time of this move, we lived in a tent, but soon graduated to the luxury of a 12-foot by 12-foot granary. I would say that housing has improved considerably since then, but my parents, Paul and Verna, still reside on that homestead. Upon graduation from Hillside High School in Valley View, I joined the workforce, and 5 years later started my own small business and bought a farm, both of which I operate to this day. But like almost everyone else in the Peace Country, what's most important to me is family. My wife Tina and I have 5 children and now twin grandchildren. You wouldn't know the true meaning of a hard day's work until you spend a day with a pair of them. But I don't want to spend any more time talking about me. After all, electing MLAs to this assembly shouldn't mean electing people or personalities. Instead, it's about representation of principles and values that particular regions hold, and making sure that those voices are brought to the provincial table. So I want to take a few moments to talk about what's important in Grand Prairie Smoky, the people, their families, and the communities that they have built. Grand Prairie Smoky is a diverse constituency of small hamlets, urban centres, and vast rural tracts that provide jobs in anything from forestry and farming to tourism and oil and gas. There are over 56,000 people across almost 20,000 square kilometres in this constituency. There is a long history of this area that goes back to the trappers referring to the area as the Grand Prairie. As early as 1854, and the Hudson Bay Company established a trading post here in 1881. Grand Prairie is the hub of the Peace Country. It's one of the largest cities in the north and one of the fastest growing in all of Canada. It is a centre of industry, which has also translated into it being one of the youngest cities in our country, where workers and young families have gathered in droves. To the immediate north of Grand Prairie are the small communities of Claremont and Sexsmith. Claremont has almost doubled in size in the last decade and is an excellent place to raise children because of its community projects, recreational facilities, and housing affordability. Meanwhile, Sexsmith, once known as the grain capital of the British Empire, reached town status in 1979. It was named after David Sexsmith, one of the first trappers of the area. And today it still boasts a population made up of outdoorsy rural people, which has produced a tough high school football team that is regularly among the best in northern Alberta. Some of the smaller communities in the riding include Teepee Creek, Crooked Creek, DeBolt, Ridge Valley, Little Smoky, and Sunset House. Teepee Creek is best known for the Teepee Creek Stampede, which began in 1916 and now draws several thousand visitors each time. Not bad for a population of about 20 people. Crooked Creek is an unincorporated community that has a post office, a gas station, and a general store that many say has the best donuts in Alberta. Near that are Ridge Valley and DeBolt, the latter of which has been around since 1919 when the DeBolt family from the state of Washington settled in the area and set up a stopping place for weary travelers. Ridge Valley has Mennonite roots and is one of those unique Albertan hamlets that doesn't appear to have many people, but draws all sorts of farming families and students to its facilities and school. And Sunset House, Sweat House, and Little Smoky are small, down-to-earth agriculture communities where the residents are industrious and community-minded. And finally, on the east side of the constituency along Highway 43 lie the communities of Calais, Valleyview, and Fox Creek. Calais is home to the Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation. It is a vibrant, community-focused population with about 1,500 people living on the band's land, with another 1,500 or so living off-site. This summer, I was able to attend a powwow there, a great opportunity to experience the culture and heritage of these people. Valleyview, my wonderful home for essentially my whole life, has usually been known as that fork in the road for Highway 43 and 49. Now it's still known as that fork in the road, but with a Tim Hortons and a Subway. And of course, many other dynamic businesses. Hillside High School also has a strong football team that the past 2 years has won the Athabasca Bowl. I have to mention that because my oldest son is a teacher and coaches the football team, and my youngest son played on that winning team in his final year. And finally, Fox Creek sits on the south edge of the constituency. It is another community largely driven forward by the oil and gas industry and is growing in leaps and bounds because of its attractive job prospects and viability as a permanent home for young families. All these cities, towns, and hamlets, all with different histories and different makeups, are bound together in the values that underpin them. At the heart of the Peace Country communities is a focus on family, faith, and quality of life. Community halls and recreational centers are found everywhere. Churches and charities are numerous and held in great respect by the communities they are a part of. And people work hard for their money and take deep pride in the jobs they hold. After all, industriousness and work ethic are values ingrained in every Peace Country man and woman. We do have issues that need to be addressed. We have a severe lack of doctors. Waiting times in the emergency are extreme. We lack seniors facilities. Our highways and roads are dilapidated, and we have large volumes of commercial traffic traveling on an insufficient road system. It will be my priority to work towards solutions for these problems and others as I represent my constituents. Again, I want to return to the idea that I hope to be a mere servant and messenger for the Grand Prairie Smoky constituents. And after listening to the throne speech and budget, I am certain that my constituents aren't comfortable with much of what's on the agenda of this government. Peace Country families balance their books and live within their means. And so why is it so unreasonable to ask our government to do the same? Already, spending has rocketed even higher than the previous government's commitments, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of plan to get the provincial books in order. I don't think I speak for just my constituents when I say that there is something inherently wrong about accruing debt and making our kids and grandkids accountable for our generation's mistakes, waste, and unsustainable wants. It appears that this NDP government is following in the footsteps of the previous government, which is to raise taxes on Albertans with no regard at all for the slumping and fragile economy. Most alarming is a complete lack of desire to reduce waste and inefficiencies in government. That has to be the first step and first discussion in any budget considerations. I understand some government members are still so young that they haven't finished their university degrees. So I would encourage these members to take a few economics courses while they still can, and then pass on what they learned to their cabinet ministers, who don't seem to fully grasp the financial consequences of their decisions. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to speak to this House about the riding I represent and love, and bring forward a few of its residents' present concerns. Now, if you'd have told me even 5 years ago that today I'd be an MLA speaking to this Assembly, I would have laughed at you. But here I am, proud and humbled to serve, enjoying every minute of it, and looking forward to representing the constituents of Grand Prairie Smoky. I look forward to coming together with members in this Assembly to be solution seekers for the sake of our province. Thank you.